So when you hear the name Albert Einstein, what's the first thing you think of? I'm guessing it's probably a genius with that iconic wild hair, maybe scribbling E equals MC squared on a blackboard. But what if I told you that the man who totally redefined our universe was once seen as, well, a slow, quiet, and kind of unpromising kid? In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the story of the boy who taught the world that the most powerful question you can ever ask is simply, why?
No, really, think about it for a second. What does a genius look like to you? Is it the kid who gets straight A's? The one who always has their hand up, ready with the right answer? Well, get ready, because the story of young Albert Einstein is about to blow that whole picture right out of the water.
You see, for young Albert, there was this massive gap between how people saw him and what was really going on in his head. While all the adults saw this quiet, maybe even delayed child, inside his mind, a whole universe of thought was just exploding with ideas and questions. He wasn't slow. He was just operating on a completely different frequency.
So let's start right there, with that misunderstood child. Because this story, it doesn't begin in some fancy university lab. Nope. It starts in a quiet home, where a mind that would literally change the world was being built, pretty much in secret.
Okay, so picture this. It's Germany, 1879. The world is on the edge of some massive changes. But for young Albert, his world was much smaller, much more personal. He was known for being really quiet, a deep observer, and just driven by this relentless curiosity about how everything worked, which all kicked off, by the way, with a simple compass that made him wonder about all the unseen forces in the world.
And this is where you can see that incredible difference between what people saw and what was actually happening. What looked like quiet on the outside, that was actually him thinking deeply. What they called a slow learner, that was someone asking the biggest questions nobody else was. And the fact that he spoke late, that wasn't a delay. Oh no, he was just busy building an entire, complex world inside his own mind first.
All of that time spent in his own head created a different kind of mind, one that was never, ever going to fit neatly into the stiff, one-size-fits-all education system of the day. He was, pretty much from the start, breaking the mold.
He just could not stand boring memorization. Just repeating facts back. For him, that wasn't learning, that was just boring. True learning was about understanding. So he kind of went his own way. He devoured books on math and science, subjects that actually rewarded curiosity. And he learned best when he was on his own, free to just follow an idea wherever it led. And that path eventually took him to studying physics and, becoming a teacher himself.
And this gets to the absolute core of his genius. He believed that your imagination is so much more important than just memorizing facts. See, for him, true understanding wasn't about knowing what other people had already discovered. It was about imagining what could be. His famous thought experiments, like picturing himself riding on a beam of light, those weren't just daydreams. They were the actual tools he used to unlock the universe's biggest secrets. And here's such a critical takeaway from his life, right? Everyone learns differently. There's no one right way to be smart. What the world saw as Einstein's weaknesses when he was a kid were actually the very things that became his greatest strengths. And it was exactly that imaginative, unconventional mind that would go on to completely rewrite our entire understanding of the universe.
And there it is, probably the most famous equation in the world. Just 5 little symbols that hold this unbelievable secret about how reality works. That energy and mass, they're just 2 sides of the very same coin. An idea that didn't come from a fancy lab, but from pure, uninterrupted thought.
I mean, the real-world impact of his ideas is just staggering. His theories on relativity, they helped us understand the fundamental link between space and time. They laid the groundwork for atomic energy. And get this, they're even used every single day in the GPS that tells you where to turn. From the tiniest atom to the biggest galaxy, his work changed literally everything. The year 1921, this was a huge one. This was the year the world was about to officially recognize just how incredible his mind really was.
He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. But here's a fun fact. It wasn't for his super famous theory of relativity. It was actually for his work explaining something called the photoelectric effect, which was a massive breakthrough in understanding what light even is. And that award, it launched him from being a respected scientist to a true global icon.
But his story doesn't stop with the science, not even close. As he got more and more famous, he started using his voice to talk about something else he cared about deeply: humanity.
I mean, his life saw 2 world wars, incredible social change. It was a turbulent time. He was born in Germany, but later moved to the United States where he became a citizen and a really powerful voice against injustice. He passed away in 1955, but he left behind a legacy that was as much about morality as it was about science.
This was his North Star, his guiding principle. He was a huge advocate for peace, for kindness, for civil rights. He really believed that with great knowledge comes great responsibility, and that the whole point of science should be to make life better for everyone, not to invent new ways to destroy it.
So, when you boil it all down, what is Einstein's ultimate legacy? Why does he still matter so much to us today? Well, the answer isn't just in his equations, but in that simple, powerful drive that he had from the very beginning.
He still matters because, well, he completely rewired our understanding of reality itself. He matters because he fought for the power of an imaginative, curious mind over one that just repeats facts. And he continues to inspire millions of people to just look up at the world and wonder.
And this was his message, simple as that. The engine of his genius, the real secret to his success, was never about having all the answers. It was about relentlessly, joyfully, and courageously asking questions.
And that's the thought I really want to leave you with. In the spirit of that curious little boy who grew up to change the world, what's one question you have today that you just can't wait to figure out?